What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be on the SH Figuarts Shinkocchou Seihou Kamen Rider 1 or Master Rider 1. As you guys can see right here, it does say Tenmashi Nations 2022. You get a product shot of the figure itself. On the side you just get some more additional information. It says Bandai Spirits. On the other side you get another product shot. Very cool. And then on the back, you get a back side of the figure, more or less what he looks like. Pretty cool. And this is actually a slip cover, so I'll show you guys what it looks like. I have this upside down, my bad, so I'll just do it here. So again, on the back, you get more product shots of the actual figure, Master Rider 1, and then I think I just had the box upside down. That was my bad. I kind of like opened it up just to inspect it, but nonetheless, this is how he looks. Really cool. I definitely love this artwork style. It just looks super cool. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. This is how the figure looks. Now before I actually take it out of the packaging, I do want to give a little bit of a backstory. I was able to get this figure for a crazy deal. I was able to get it for $40 shipped, which is nuts. These usually run for like 90 bucks, give or take ish, the aftermarket. I'll show you guys why I was able to get it for a pretty good price. But yeah, let's just show you what this looks like. All right, and as you guys can see, this is how he looks outside the packaging. So right there, you do see that he is missing some of his antennae, I guess. That was why it was marked down. The seller originally had him for 60 bucks, and I offered 40, so great deal. Honestly, didn't expect to get it for that good of a price. This was actually on my bucket list. When I go to Japan, this was actually one of the things that I was going to look for, so I'm definitely happy to get it in hand. Of course, it does suck that, it does come without it. I don't know if it was just like a QC issue or what. Didn't really bother asking. But he did actually include the antenna on here. There's like actually two different sets. So I'll try seeing if I can plug it in. I think he said that he didn't plug in or something. But, I figured, might as well just try to like, super glue it in or something like that. I mean, it's not really a huge deal, and again, for 40 bucks, it's not a bad deal. So before I get into the articulation, I'll get into the accessories. He does come with an additional typhoon belt. I honestly am not really sure what the difference between this one and this one is. It looks damn near the same, if I'm honest. I don't know if maybe later in the series he got a different belt, but yeah, these are pretty much like same thing. I don't know, that's weird, but cool nonetheless. I mean, I guess it's like, maybe this is supposed to simulate, like, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And if you guys are wondering why he has a different color, this color is more like a teal, like more of a bluish color. Is because when they first started filming the series, I think this was his original color, and the reason why they ended up shifting to like the greenish color was just for the night shots. The suit was just very difficult to really see on TVs and on camera, so that was kind of why they eventually opted to go that route of lightening up the color, and I think that was why. They also did that with like I forgot, Ichimonji, Hayate Ichimonji. I forget what his first name is or whatever, but he had the streaks of silver on the suit too to kind of really make it stand out. So it was pretty cool. So this is like the OG version colorway, if you will. And he does come with two chopping effect hands. It does come with two open hands as well. These are more like relaxed hands. Maybe the other ones are more like a henshin style pose hand. Two more relaxed. These are more like really relaxed, kind of like if he was to hold something, even though he doesn't really hold anything. Well, he could hold like a handlebar for like the, his motorcycle and whatnot. Speaking of holding the motorcycle, he does come with two gripping hands. So I'm assuming that this is actually what these would be for. just because with this particular character, he doesn't really have any weapons. OG Kamen Riders were just known for their hands. All he really needed was his rider kick. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's one thing why I really kind of like the OG riders too. It's because, you know, it was more straight up about the fighting and things like that. You know, they really had to make do with what they had. You know, I saw a video about, like, you know, kind of like the backstory of Kamen Rider, how it was developed, and I know that Kamen Rider really didn't have much of a budget, really, so like they really had to do what they did. So that's why you see a lot of cuts, and you see a lot of, like, you know, different things, and some of the effects may not be good or as good, and as opposed to like Ultraman and things like that. And that's actually how they came up with the rider kick, is because it was just like a practical effect. You know, they didn't have like the specium ray or whatever it was called to, you know, to defeat his enemies, so they just used a kick. And but I mean, that stood the test of time. That still is like most iconic move, the rider kick, rider punch. So very, very cool. But as we look at the figure itself, so he does have really nice design. You can notice that the mouth plate is actually different color than the rest of the suit. I love the eyes. He has that like nice reddish hue to it. If you look at the box, it actually looks kind of different. I mean, it does look reddish, but this has more like a orangish tone to it, whereas this is straight up red. But that's cool. I like that. And then, of course, you do get the scarf, which is iconic, and this is wired, which is really nice. It's good for like moving around, so you can like, kind of move it around different positions. It's very stiff. Which is cool, but it is still like pliable and movable, so you're going to be able to get a lot of movement out of it. You know, that's cool. And then, as I kind of showed earlier, these plates do move to help with the articulation. So as you kind of bring the arms up, it does move out of the way and shift, which is cool. And then the broadness of the chest is just, this is like the design, you know, this was in the 70s, so you're not going to get something super skin tight or whatever. So it's cool, you know. I think that just leads to more admiration of how they came up with the concept of the character. You know, they really made do with what they had. You know, they had a vision and they stuck to it. And then for the arms, you do have the upper movement. I was worried that it was going to get stuck. I was hoping that you could probably put it in, but no, it doesn't look like that's the case. So that might be as high as it goes. He does have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. And then he does have a hinge on the hand for the torso articulation. Because of these plates, you're not really going to get much forward movement. That's really all you get. Back is where you're going to get more articulation. And it's cool that even here on the back, like it's blue. You know, it's not really green. Would I have liked it to be green? Yeah, it would be cool. I think the green's a more iconic color, but this is, again, like I said, the OG colorway. The belt does move around, so if you're going to move them, it will kind of move out of the way, things like that. The legs do kick up that far because of this little skirt piece. I wonder if that's... I think that... Okay, I think I see now. I think this piece doesn't have the little skirt piece. It does have it on the back, but I think this is to help with articulation, if I'm honest. So, because this runs into it, so I'm assuming you switch it out and you get more articulation. I might end up doing that, to be honest. But for the legs, it does go out. Really nice. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees. He does have a thigh swivel, or no, a shin swivel, sorry. And then for the ankles, he does up, down, he does get a pivot, and the toe bend. So let's throw a little pose. I'm not that great with posing, but you know, we're gonna make do, and it's Kamen Rider. So yeah, I think it's cool that they did that, but yeah, I think for me personally, I'll probably end up, you know, taking it out, switching it out to get more articulation. So yeah, that's how it looks. This is a terrible posing job, but just to get you an idea. So I think that I will end up trying to throw in these antennae. I'm just gonna try to plug some in just for argument's sake. If you guys have any recommendations on what I can do, From what I see, it does look like it was in at one point, and maybe it just had popped out. Let me know. I hope that he didn't already try gluing it in, and that's like glue residue. And so yeah, just do this off camera real quick. See where the problem lies. One of them does go in. The other one on the left side is just the antenna doesn't want to go in. So I'm not gonna really stress it out too much trying to do it on camera, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a big deal, but yeah, that's how it looks. So all in all, definitely recommend it. I'm gonna do a quick size comparison just to show you guys, because I know I've been slacking on doing that. I keep forgetting in my videos. So honestly, I just grabbed the first thing that I could find, which is gonna be this Lightning Collection in Space Red. There you go. So get a little bit closer so you guys can see. So I mean, of course, Kamen Rider figures are a little bit more known to be on the smaller side, but you know, it's not really that big of a deal. You know what I mean? You could definitely fudge it together with angles and stuff, and I mean, I think it's actually pretty accurate for, you know, people aren't going to be the same height all the time, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and before I go, if you do have any recommendations on getting the antenna in, please let me know. I'm open to any and all suggestions, but thank you. Oh, just a quick sidebar. I did end up switching out the belt, and when you switch out the belt, this is, just put that out there, this is how much more range you get in the leg. So that's pretty nuts. I definitely recommend you guys switching it out if you're looking to get the most out of the articulation. And it's a super simple swap. You just simply pop out the waist and just snap it back in, and you're good to go. So yeah, I mean, definitely recommend it. I like this, but yeah, for articulation purposes and whatnot, yeah, I'm sticking with this one. This one's cool. So just a little tidbit, but thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.